Good morning, guys. It is 4 in the morning right now, but I got a little bit of a drive. But today, I'm gonna be on a boat. See you guys over there. This is the man, the captain, Phil.
Oh, yeah. Call me the man when I put you on fish.
Hey, man, I'm gonna take that as a promise, all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best.
Heading out right now. First thing we're gonna do, we're actually gonna target some sand dabs, and I promised Sally I'll be wearing my life vest the whole time. So, all right, see you guys out there. So here we are at our first stop, just targeting some sand dabs. But even though I did bring my own rod and reel setups, Phil actually had these electronic reels, and I've never tried these before, but I could not turn down an offer to try these. And these were a lifesaver because we're fishing a couple 100 feet here, and man, it saves so much time, you know, just to reel up and check if our sabiki rigs were still tipped with our squid. So that was awesome. Love these.
Let's see. Felt the bite. Yes, I did. It's a little tiny baby. Little guy.
After we caught a couple sand dabs, we started setting up for the salmon. So here's Phil showing me how he does his crippled anchovy with a flasher, and we did put a slight bend into the anchovy so that it does a nice tight roll as we troll along. We also tried trolling at a couple different depths here. We went as shallow as 50 feet, all the way down to 150 feet, but you know, unfortunately that day the bite just wasn't on. We were talking on the radio to the other boats around us, and there was only one salmon caught among probably about 10 boats that we talked to. So after over an hour with no bites, the weather started to get worse too. Swells here started to get super choppy, and unfortunately we had to call it a day. So hopefully we have better luck next time, but at least that leaves us with more time for a nice catch and cook. All right, welcome home, guys. Unfortunately, we didn't get the salmon that we were hoping for, but we did get sand dabs. So I figured flat fish, flat cake. So we're gonna be making a green onion pancake, and we're gonna wrap it with the fish inside of it. So this is traditionally more of a Taiwanese style dish. They usually put kind of a braised beef inside of the dish, but we're gonna actually use our marinated sand dabs. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that preparation where I filleted everything, but if you guys are gonna fillet these guys, they're small, so take your time. It's actually really difficult to get a good yield. But man, I thought surf perch were small, but these guys were tiny. Speaking of surf perch, my last video, that was a slab of a perch. So make sure you guys go look at that one. I'll put a card up top. So just click that. Probably, yeah, it's the biggest perch I've ever caught. So watch that catch and cook. Really nice catch and cook on that one. Other than that, let's get started on this. All right, let's go. So the first step is to scale these guys, and honestly they're not that bad to scale. The scales are pretty small, and they also don't fly all over the place like some other fish that I've cleaned before. So rockfish, that stuff will fly all over the place, but sand dabs, they're actually pretty easy to scale. So to remove the guts, I'm actually going to make a cut from behind the head all the way down to the pectoral fin, but not all the way down the whole length of the body. Once you've done that, just pull it apart. And I do this because I don't want to sever the connection between the head and the rest of the organs. And then just from that, you can pull it all out and you'll have a clean abdominal cavity there. Since these guys are small and flat, the filleting process is a little bit more tricky than a traditional shaped fish, but take your time, you know, it's still not that different. Make an incision along the back and then just kind of slowly cut towards the spine, and then just kind of work the contours. But the only thing that I would say is taking your time is the best, because these guys don't have a ton of meat and you don't want to waste anything. So for the marinade, it's actually a couple different ingredients here: soy sauce, 5-spice, some cooking wine, and some sugar. But it's actually not that hard to make. Check out the description for the ratios, but I'm gonna marinate these overnight. If you don't have overnight, a couple hours, at least 4 would be great. Mine was overnight, so it was a little bit salty, but keep in mind the pancake itself doesn't have that much salt. So I was totally okay with the saltiness level if I were to marinate it overnight again. Making the pancake dough. So this is actually going to be 2 different types of flour. If you don't have 2 types and you only have like all-purpose, for example, totally fine. But we're going to use 1.5 cups of each, so that's a total of 3 cups. You're just going to mix them in half and then add a little bit of salt. That's about a teaspoon there. And then you're going to put the water in. There's 3/4 cup of hot water going in first. I'm going to mix that in, make sure everything's kind of even, and then I'll mix the second 3/4 cups. So that's a total of 1.5 cups of water and 3 cups of flour with 1/2 teaspoon or 1 whole teaspoon of salt. Now, letting the dough rest is actually pretty important here. If you don't let them rest, it's actually going to be very difficult to work with, but letting it rest allows the gluten to kind of form, and it actually makes the dough a little less sticky. It's still going to be very annoying to work with, if I can be honest, but just keep working it, keep, after you let it rest, just keep kneading it until it kind of becomes somewhat smooth, but it's still sticky, a little bit shaggy, and it's not going to be the most fun dough to work on. So once it's kind of somewhat smooth after you've been kneading it, we're going to actually be oiling a Tupperware here, or whatever container you have, but you do want to make sure it is sufficiently oiled because this dough is so shaggy, it does stick to pretty much any surface it touches. So here we're just going to place it in here, we're going to cover it, and we're going to be letting this rest overnight. If you don't want to wait overnight, another couple hours would be great, so best to do this the day before though. Once you've done that, take that oil that's kind of accumulated around and then just kind of pour it onto your kneading surface. Get your work surface nice and oiled up, and then you're actually going to be portioning out your dough. So this is, where you have some creative license. You could totally do a smaller piece, a bigger piece. If you want to have a pizza-sized pancake, go for it. My surface area here, I only have enough to make a personal-sized pancake at a time. So I'm going to cut mine into 4s, and then I'm going to be working on them individually. Once you've had everything portioned out to the size that you want, I'm actually going to roll the dough out. And here I'm going to roll it to probably about 3 millimeters thick or so. But the thinner you can make this, the more surface area you have, the more you can roll it up to make some more layers. And to make the layers, once you have everything flattened out, you do want to add some kind of fat or lard, butter, whatever you have, to this layer, right before you add the green onions. Once you have it rolled up, that's where those layers come from, because you will be actually rolling this out and forming those layers. up into a nice log, you want to actually take the ends, start rolling them towards the center until it looks like Princess Leia's buns. Then you want to stack them on top of each other, and then after that, just smash them down, roll it out until it's nice and flat. Since I do have about 4 portions here, I'm actually going to freeze a couple of mine, and if you want to do the same thing, just put it on a big flat surface, freeze them up, and then layer with a piece of wax paper, and then just keep repeating with the ones that you want to freeze. Here we'll be pan frying our pancakes. First thing you want to do, get some vegetable oil or whatever oil you might have, and put that onto medium-high heat. Then just place your pancake on the pan, and then cook until the bottom is slightly brown, kind of golden brown, and the top actually you'll notice will start to turn translucent as well. So that's a good sign. Just double check the bottom, and then when you're ready to flip, that's when some people might have a hard time. I did too at first. So if you do have a hard time flipping such a large pancake, easiest thing to do, take that pan, make sure there's not a bunch of oil in there, and you could invert it over your cutting board. That's probably easier if you have a hard time flipping it. So while the other side of the pancake is browning, I'm actually going to start cooking the sandabs. So since the sandabs aren't super thick and there's a lot of sugar inside the marinade, I'm actually going to use medium-high heat. Anything more and I feel like I might actually burn the sandabs. So medium-high is perfectly fine. Give them a nice browning, and then once you're ready, you'll be able to flip them over, and then hopefully they won't break on you. So last step, we're actually going to thicken the marinade into a bit of a glaze. First thing I did, I was actually using a little bit of cornstarch, make a little slurry, and then you want to actually use a little bit of heat. You don't want to have it too high. Place the marinade onto the skillet. Right here, I would actually say slightly bit of a high temperature there. I could definitely turn down the heat, which you'll see me turn it off right there. And then I'm actually going to place the cornstarch slurry and then let it actually thicken up the sauce. That's going to form a nice glaze, and then just pour it over your pancake with the fish in there. Alright, so last step of the assembly, just spread out some cucumbers and then roll it up. Actually, before we even start eating the pancake, I actually made a little bit extra of just the fish by itself because I wanted to taste it and the texture, but check this out. So, little piece. They're pretty tender from when I was cooking it. Texture is actually, imagine like a more firm perch. Yeah, I like that. Sand dab is good. Man, you guys should go out and get some of these. All right, it's finally time to eat. So these are, the beef version of this is commonly found in a lot of restaurants in Taiwanese and Shanghai restaurants, but let's give it a go. Sauce came out perfect. I'm gonna leave in the description like the ratios that I use for the sauce and probably the batter for the pancake, but this is good. Obviously it doesn't have the same texture as beef, but the fish is actually delicious. Like, it takes in the sauce so well. I mean, I marinated it overnight, and the pancake, I've made this pancake like probably about 100 times at least. But the first couple times you're probably gonna mess up if you've never made it because the dough needs to be so shaggy and it's hard to make it. It's just perfect. And I love green onions. Hey boys. Oh, look who else came. Hey buddy. Hi boys. A little bit of tea. In case anyone was wondering why I poured tea all over the place, there's actually, we bought this tea set in China many years ago. I think probably in 2000, so a long time ago. And they actually say that you're supposed to have a tea like cleansing of the, I guess the clayware or whatever this is. I'm pretty sure it's clay, terracotta, I think. But yeah, you're supposed to pour it out and then kind of clean everything with the initial pour of tea. And then you drink the second pouring. That's what I've been told. So that's why I do that. Oh yeah. All right, I'm gonna finish this up a little bit off camera. We're actually gonna make another one because Sally's behind the camera. So I'm gonna make another one fresh for her. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And again, Phil, thank you for bringing me out. And also you guys, please check out his channel. I'm sure he's a lot more popular than I am, but you know what? Check out his channel. He reached out to me, offered, to bring me out. So I'm extremely thankful to have him actually, invite me out. So Phil, thank you. His channel is Fishing and Fiddle. So please go give him some attention, some love, say hi to him, check out his videos, guys. All right, so catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Have you guys ever tried making green onion pancakes yourself? Because I failed so many times before I finally made it good. So I will catch you guys on the next one. See you later.